Hey everyone, Sports Center right now. I'm Antonieta Collins. The Celtics were hoping to bounce back from a blowout loss to the Raptors. That didn't happen. Boston ended up losing to Portland at home, making it their fourth straight loss. We take you out to the action. Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving all smiles before the game. That would change for Kyrie. In the third, Lillard with the easy finish. Celtics call a timeout. Irving wasn't happy at all. The Blazers were up by 9. Then in the fourth, Jaylen Brown misses the three. Irving is right there to put it back. He finishes 31 points, now under a minute to play. Marcus Smart misses the three. The Blazers move quickly. Lillard gets the feed and finishes the dagger. After the game, the confidence meter question was bugging Kyrie. Take a listen to what he had to say.
What's your confidence level in this team going forward?
Huh?
What's your confidence level in the team going forward?
What do you mean?
Just in terms of, like, you know, you got to.
What kind of question is that?
A legitimate question. I mean, I just, you know.
Nah.
How do you feel about this team?
Okay, next question.
Celtics have not won since the All-Star break and are fifth in the East behind the 76ers with 20 games to go. Now, let's get you back to First Take.
Next question. I see you, Kyrie. The C's fall for the fourth straight game, this time to the Trailblazers. With all the talent they have on paper, yet they are fifth in the East. Jalen Rose is in the building. Good to see you.
You too.
Max.
Yep.
What have the Celtics done wrong? I'm real confused.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, because when this topic came up before the trade deadline, I said, you know what Kyrie's about once the playoffs start.
Yeah.
You have a chance to win the whole thing this year if every single thing goes right. It's not impossible. It's in there somewhere. You just got to ride it out. You're going to lose him at the end of the season. You're going to lose him. However, at this moment in time, and maybe he'll prove me wrong in the playoffs, right now, based on what I've seen, they should have traded Kyrie before the deadline. That was the mistake. That was the mistake. They're going to lose him at the end of this season for nothing. So if you don't make a real run, it was a waste. And right now, let's face it, the East all got better. Toronto got better. Milwaukee got better at the deadline. Philadelphia got better. All those teams may have already been better than the Celtics. I'll tell you what, the Celtics better get rid of Indiana. They better get rid of Indiana out of the top four. Because if they don't, they could be facing a first-round exit. They should have traded Kyrie.
I think that's utterly ridiculous. There's no way in hell they should have traded Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, listen, you're the Boston Celtics. As constructed, you are a championship contender, as constructed, okay? Now, are they playing up to snuff? No. Am I pleased with what I'm seeing? No. But the playoffs aren't here, and I'm not trying to shove aside, Jalen, the regular season and act like that doesn't mean anything or whatever. But what I'm saying is, do I have faith that Kyrie Irving going to show up come playoff time? You damn right I do. Let me tell you what the Celtics need to do. They don't need to trade anybody. What they need to do is to make sure, I'm going to sit up there and tell you, take Marcus Smart, who, by the way, made a pivotal error with that shot selection late in the game last night. They had an opportunity to pull it, I think, within 3 or whatever. Bad shot, led to a score by Portland. Basically, that was the game. Damian Lillard show up. We get all of that. But this is what Boston needs to do. Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens need to take Gordon Hayward, leave him on the bench. They need to prioritize playing Jaylen Brown with Jason Tatum, put Jaylen Brown back in that start lineup, put him in the lineup with Tatum, with Horford, with Morris, with Kyrie. Let Marcus Smart come off the bench again with Rozier. Okay? And they've got to be your top 7. That's what I believe. I'm not saying there is a place for others. I'm not advocating that no one else plays. No, that Gordon Hayward and others don't get their minutes. But I'm telling you right now, the team that went to the conference finals, part of the reason was they were thoroughbreds. They were long, they were athletic, and they went after it, and they were hungry. And they knew that they didn't have to worry about getting yanked if they made a mistake here or there. They were the team. Kyrie's going to be there instead of Rozier. Go with who you had last year instead of, and you have Kyrie in there, have Rozier coming off the bench instead of starting like he was last year in the playoffs, obviously. Have Rozier and Marcus Smart. That's what you need to do. You don't need to trade. You didn't need to trade Kyrie. You should have had those guys in the lineup long ago.
You know what the Celtics did wrong? They got complacent. Over the last couple of years, we've lauded, and rightfully so, the moves of Danny Ainge. How they've been able to acquire lottery picks, how they've been able to acquire first-round picks, how they basically fleeced the Cavs to get Kyrie Irving. We talked all about those moves, and those were terrific. But the rest of the conference got better. Even during this year, you saw the Bucks add Mirotic. You saw the Raps add Gasol. Indiana added Wes Matthews. The Sixers added Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. Who did the Celtics add? Nobody. And you know when you do that for a team that went to the conference finals last year but is not meeting expectations this year, you're telling your team we're really playing for the playoffs.
Who do you add,
But
Jalen?
Jalen, they did add people because Gordon Hayward and Kyrie couldn't play in the end, so it's almost like they added players.
Correct. And so now you bring back Gordon Hayward as your highest paid player and had 3 points last night. Okay? You bring back Al Horford, who's not an all-star this year. You wanted Tatum to take the all-star leap this year. It did not happen. So now you give the ball to Kyrie, and rightfully so. He was actually dazzling last night. The problem was when he's at his best, it's 3 assists. It's 5 assists and 25, 30 points. And so now everybody else is standing around looking like it's my turn.
But let me ask you a question. Was it complacency, Jalen, or a belief in what you had? There's a difference. In other words, if you just sitting there lollygagging around, we're going to be all right come playoff time. We'll see what happens then. We're going to go after Anthony Davis this summer. We'll make our moves then. That's entirely different than saying, okay, this crew we believe in. See, I think it's the former. I think they believed in their crew, which is why what Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens has done is so egregious. Because to me, Brad Stevens, the coach, he's a hell of a coach, okay? But what happens is don't tell me that when you came from Butler, man, you ain't Duke and you come to the NBA. You were at Butler and you coaching the Boston Celtics, the second most storied franchise in basketball annals. You can't tell me, why were you relevant at Butler? Gordon Hayward. That was your star. Don't tell me you don't have that strong level of affection for him, that you didn't try to look out for him, that didn't get in the way.
Hold on,
and I don't care what anybody says about that.
The problem is this if you're the Celtics. Who do you bring in who's better on paper than what you got already? And how do you acquire that player? So, for example, Gordon Hayward, if you were to move him now, like let's say you said, forget about Allegiance, coach. He's making too much money to sit on the bench and not play minutes. Maybe he'll be good in the future. He's still not recovered from the injury. You got to move him. You're selling low. You're not going to get what you need. You could get.
But I'm not advocating moving him.
Al Horford, same sort of thing.
I like Al Horford.
Right. You're going to trade Brown or Tatum, these two young cats, unless there's a superstar involved. What? The point is, when you look at the team, who do you bring in? You say you're playing instead of that guy. And what do you give up for that dude? When I look at the team, what I see are guys who don't want to play with Kyrie. They play better when he's not on the court.
Correct. And here's why a team can go undefeated and win the championship. They still won't bring back the same crew. The reason why is the complacency I'm talking about. Each guy settles into his role. Everybody feels good about what they accomplished. Terry Rozier looks at himself as Scary Terry. Jaylen Brown sees himself as the player that he was in the playoffs last year. When you take that away from those guys, it's like putting toothpaste back in the tube. They don't want to.
I want to challenge you with what you're saying in this regard, though. I'm going back to Kyrie, and I'm only saying this because I need your input here. Here's my problem with what you're saying. We say they don't look right with Kyrie. They look better without him. Are we sure about that? Remember this. I believe you if there's no Gordon Hayward. But if you're trying to ingratiate Gordon Hayward in the mix and Max has a look and you always interrupt me with that point, it's almost like you don't want me to say something about Gordon Hayward. I don't understand it. Gordon Hayward has hurt the development of Tatum, of Brown, of Terry Rozier when Terry Rozier has to come off the bench and be in the lineup with him. I'm lying about that?
You're not lying, but here's what happened. The Celtics used to be an effort team that beat you with their will that had skill. Now they have so many individual parts, they're not a team. Like when we talk about the Celtics, we're going to overvalue them as individuals. But guess what they're not better than? The Raptors. They're not better than the Bucks. And we know that they have the Greek freak in Kawhi, but then when you start to look at the other parts.
I want to piggyback off that.
And when you talk about the Celtics parts, you'll start to rank the Celtics players better than the players on those two teams.
I want to piggyback off that. That's the whole thing about these Celtics. We know that Smart and Rozier and Morris at the beginning of the season supposed to be off the bench. Good, deep team, great coach. But really, we were wowed by the starting five. Oh, my God. Kyrie is a superstar. Horford's an all-star. Tatum is an emerging superstar, it looked like. Brown might be an all-star in the future. Gordon Hayward's been an all-star. What a starting five. All of a sudden, the only all-star on the team is Kyrie. And here's the problem. This is where your point comes in. They don't want to play with him. When you say it's Hayward, go put those stats up again, guys. Let's have the producers put those stats up again. Look at the numbers with and without Kyrie. Just Kyrie. The plus-minus, it's a huge difference. The 0-6 to 6-0. I mean, that's not, look at that. That's with and without Kyrie.
So is
it's
it
ridiculous.
his play? Is it his attitude? Are we saying he's a cancer in the locker room? Like, what's the
no,
deal
I'm
with
saying
him?
I think it's nuanced. Jalen just hit it. These guys need to beat you as a cohesive unit. They have to do it with will. They don't have the talent, actually, to do it another way. But when Kyrie's on the court, they don't function that way.
How about this? You just talked about the Celtics starting five. They don't have the best starting five in their own conference.
No.
Philadelphia does. That's what I mean. What ends up happening is when you take Jaylen Brown 3, Tatum 3, Smart in the lottery, now all of a sudden Smart gets a new contract, and rightfully so. You want those lottery picks to become a cohesive team, except they're individuals. And
I feel you on
and
that.
That's why the teams that they seem to have more talent than have better records.
But I'm not refuting what you're saying. And I get it. I'm not
let me
saying
say
you're
one
wrong.
more thing.
Go ahead.
Portland's better than them. We sitting here talking about what's wrong with the Celtics. Portland is a better team than them.
Stop right there. And you see, you're going to incriminate yourself because we've seen plenty of situations where the better team in the regular season collapsed come playoff time. So stop that. That's number one. Last point. Again, you took Jaylen Brown out of the starting lineup. So if you take those guys out of the starting lineup and you try to reinsert Gordon Hayward into the mix at the same time with the 25-minute restrictions, but you're giving them 26 minutes and stuff like this, and it's getting in the way, there's going to be a collateral effect. It's going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
Jalen, I'm being told Jacoby's looking for you. You got a show to do.
Kyrie or Lillard? Who do you want? Kyrie or Lillard? Who you want?
Lillard.
Kyrie or Lillard? Who do you want? Who's better?
I'm about to answer your question.
Lillard's almost 2 years older, by the way.
I'm going to tell you why. Lillard's been in the West his entire career, right? His team has made the playoffs every season. He was all NBA, and he's allowed players like C.J. McCollum to develop, allowed players like Nurkic to develop.
It's a pick-up for me.
People
pick-up for me.
I'm saying, well, pick them if you have to.
Oh, and by the way, they played last night.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking.
Right now, it would be Lillard because Lillard, like you said, there's never any issues with Lillard. Ever. He just balls.
Dame time's over. It's commercial time. Jalen, time
Appreciate
for you to do Jalen and Jacoby.
But Dame time.
The Eagles are letting Nick
Lillard from the logo.
hit free agency, but is this a smart move by Philly? We'll debate it. And all was right with the king in his court, at least for one night. So are the Lakers back on playoff track? Stay here. First Take.
Why so vexed? Why you upset? Why so vexed? Why so stressed? Watching in the mirror, fighting in the